question is addressed to the king, although it's the minister who answers it. And I've got a dialogue. It's actually a meditation on being, on the absolute, in the form of a question and answer. The demoness is asked the question, and the answer is obviously the answer, I say it's obvious, but it could be referred to as the Supreme Self and consciousness. And it's a meditation on that. So the minister replies, "I shall surely answer your questions, O lady, for that to which all your questions refer is the Supreme Self. That Self is subtler than even space, since it has no name and cannot be described. And neither the mind nor the senses can reach it or comprehend it. It is pure consciousness. The entire universe exists in the consciousness that is atomic, even as a tree exists within the seed. But then the universe exists as consciousness and does not exist as the universe. That consciousness exists, however, because such is the experience of all, and since it alone is the self of all. Since it is, all else is." I can't deny consciousness. If there was no consciousness, there'd be nothing. And there's clearly something. That self is empty like space, but it is not nothingness, since it is consciousness. It is, yet because it cannot be experienced by the mind and senses, it is not. It being the self of all, it is not experienced as the object of experience by anyone. Though one, it is reflected in the infinite atoms of existence, and hence appears to be many. The infinite atoms of existence aren't something out there. It's how the Supreme Self manifests itself in an apparent infinitude. This appearance is, however, unreal, even as bracelet is an imaginary appearance of gold, which alone is real. But the self is not unreal. It is not a void or nothingness, for it is the self of all, and it is the very self of one who says it is, and of one who says or thinks it is not. Moreover, its existence can be experienced indirectly, just as the existence of camphor can be experienced by its fragrance. It alone is the self of all as consciousness, and it alone is the substance that makes the world appearance possible. In that infinite ocean of consciousness, whirlpools known as the three worlds arise spontaneously and naturally, even as whirlpools are caused by the very nature of the running water. So the three worlds are a Hindu division they're a division in Hindu cosmology, referring to the physical, the subtle, and the celestial. Because this consciousness is beyond the reach of the mind and senses, it seems to be a void. But since it can be known by self-knowledge, it is not a void. On account of the indivisibility of consciousness, I am you, and you are me. But the indivisible consciousness itself has become neither I nor you. When the wrong notions of you and I are given up, there arises the awareness that there is neither you nor I nor everything. Perhaps it alone is everything. The self being infinite moves not, though moving, and yet is forever established in every atom of existence. The self does not go, nor does it ever come, for space and time derive their meaning from consciousness alone. Where can the self go when all that is within it? If a pot is taken from one place to another, the space within does not move from one place to another, for everything is forever in space. And in the same way, everything is in consciousness. The minister continued, "The self, which is of the nature of pure consciousness, seems to be inert and insentient, when it is apparently associated with inertia. In infinite space, this infinite consciousness has made infinite objects appear. Though all this seems to have been done, such effect being a mere fancy, nothing has been done. Hence it is both consciousness and inertia, the doer and the non-doer. The reality in fire is this self or consciousness. Yet the self does not burn, nor is it burnt, since it is the reality in all and infinite. It is the eternal light which shines in the sun, the moon, and the fire, but independent of them. It shines even when these have set. It illumines all from within all. It makes everything apparent. It alone is the intelligence that indwells even trees, plants, and creepers, and preserves them. That self or infinite consciousness is, from the ordinary point of view, the creator, the protector, and the overlord of all. And yet, from the absolute point of view, in reality, being the self of all, it has no such limited roles. There is no world independent of this consciousness. Hence, even the mountains are in the atomic self. The word atomic is used in the sense of fundamental, indivisible. In it arise the fantasies of a moment and of an epoch, and these appear to be real time scales, even as objects seen in a dream appear to be real at that time. Within the twinkling of an eye there exists an epoch, even as a whole city is reflected in a small mirror. Such being the case, how can one assert the reality of either duality or non-duality? This atomic self or infinite consciousness alone appears to be a moment or an epoch, near and far, and there is nothing apart from it. And these are not mutually contradictory in themselves. As long as one sees the bracelet as a bracelet, it is not seen as gold. But when it is seen that bracelet is just a word and not the reality, then gold is seen. Even so, when the world is assumed to be real, the self is not seen. But when this assumption is discarded, consciousness is realized. If it is the all, hence real. It is not experienced, hence unreal. What appears to be is but the jugglery of Maya, which creates a division in consciousness into subject and object. Maya is the cognitive process. It is as real as the dream city. It is neither real nor unreal, but a long-standing illusion. It is the assumption of division that creates diversity, right from the creator Brahma down to the little insect. Just as in a single seed the diverse characteristics of the tree remain at all times, even so this apparent diversity exists in the self at all times, but as consciousness.